I and my BF had a trip planned, and the day before the trip he stops messaging me and then doesn't show up the next day to leave. Can you tell me what to do so I don't lose my mind? Hi. This is my first post, because I need people to tell me what to think right now. My BF 25M and I 24F have been dating for a little over 6 months, and we have both been really busy with work, and his dad has recently been sick, so we haven't gotten to see each other as often these last 5 to 6 weeks. So about a month ago we decided to plan a vacation during a national holiday that is going on right now. We both are early in our careers and don't make much, but we decided to use a bit of savings and fly to a nearby country and have a beach vacation, stay in some hotels, swim in the lot. We've both been so excited for this trip. He's planned most of the general stuff, which days and times we should fly. He booked all the hotels. We were going to go back and forth between some islands, and messaging me almost every day this week with weather updates and things we could do. I have been super busy with work but cut out some time earlier this week to make a more in-depth schedule so we could make the most out of our vacation and to book some stuff for us to do to ensure we would have tickets. It was all going perfectly. We were both clearly excited and had spent a good amount of money. I know he already spent at least $1,000 booking stuff, so he was very invested. Plus he is the one who initially came up with the plan and invited me. Here's where the story turns. Keep in mind our flight is at 9:10 this morning, the 30th, so we had loose plans to meet near my street and get a taxi at 7:30. Yesterday the 29th I have Wi-Fi issues at my apartment, so I don't get a good morning message. When we first started dating I kind of found these a bit annoying, but I've grown to love them so much, and I know it means a lot to him that I say good morning back, so I try my best to respond within a few hours. So I go to a coffee shop and see that he hasn't messaged me, which I find a little weird, but I take the opportunity to be the one to say good morning first. Something I very rarely get to do since he works a 9 to 5 and I'm remote, and I get to work on my latest project and don't think too much of it. Then a little later I send him the latest ideas for our trip and ask if he's bringing any nicer clothes if we want to do a slightly fancier dinner one night. No response. This man is always on his phone. He responds so fast sometimes it gives me whiplash, and it's been hours and nothing. But I know he's at work and I feel a little crazy for even thinking anything of it. I accidentally leave him for hours sometimes because I'm not as attached to my phone, so it's not a big deal if he doesn't respond quickly, but it is weird for him. A few hours later I send him a booking confirmation. No response. I finish my work and go home. Then 5:30 rolls around, and I know he should be off work. I message him again and no response. An hour later I message again because I'm getting worried he isn't messaging back the night before our flight. No response. I call him a couple times and he doesn't pick up, so by 7/7:30 I'm stressing out, and I walk over to his apartment, a 5-minute walk from mine. His bike is outside his door, but I knock for 20-ish min, and no response. I'm trying to come up with excuses. Maybe he had to work super late? He's at dinner? His phone is dead or broken. I go home and just pack and go to sleep. This morning still nothing. We plan to leave at 7:30, so I get ready as I would have and try calling him a few times. At 7:30 I go out to the street corner where we normally have met before and wait to get to the airport in time to check, and we have to leave by 8 o'clock at the absolute latest. I message and call him the whole time and nothing. At 8:01 I head to his apartment again. I'm pounding on the door, calling him. There is nothing, no response. His shoes are there that I can see, his bike outside unmoved from the day before. We have missed our flight, so I request a refund on the site while literally sitting against his door. I miraculously got the refund, by the way, and I cancel any bookings I made, all of which went through. So I'm super sad about missing our vacation, but I want to emphasize that I'm not mad about the money. I was able to get it back. I'm scared at this point. He's been the perfect boyfriend. He brought flowers to my place when I got sick. He is always on time to pick me up for our dates. He plans things for us. We've never fought. I don't even think I've ever seen him annoyed with me, and I'm super annoying. The last time I saw him, the 24th? His last words to me were "I love you" like 3 times, and then when I left me messaged that he loved being with me, and then later I got a good night message. Cut to today and suddenly it's radio silence. Nothing. I'm crying at this point and accept that he's probably not home or I would have heard him, so I go home and just cry and get pizza and wine and message him approximate 100 million times, and try to call and nothing. I haven't met his family yet, so I don't have their contacts. I've met a couple of his friends and workmates in passing but didn't think to get any of their numbers. Why would I? I know the buildings where he works but not where his office is or the name of the company. It's not my native language and names are really hard for me to remember, so he might have told me but I forgot if he did. My point is that I have no way of contacting him. If he is in the hospital or something, no one is going to think to call me. It's the evening of the 30th as I'm tying this. I recently got back from his apartment again and his bike hasn't moved. I taped a message to his door to call me, and my contact info for anyone who goes to his apartment in case someone else might know what happened. I can't think of anything else to do and I'm terrified and crying constantly thinking the worst. I'm trying to think of what could possibly be happening. He takes his bike everywhere but it's outside his apartment unmoved. He spent a lot of money on tickets for this trip and then didn't show. Where I live you need your phone to use taxis and metros and such, and there are charging ports and repair shops everywhere so even if his phone died the 29th or broke it would be fine by now. My best idea is that there was some sort of family emergency? Maybe with his dad who is sick, that he had to go early on the 29th to see them and after he got there he lost his phone and has been super crazy with family stuff that he hasn't had the bandwidth to go get a new phone. He also just has my contact saved and doesn't have my number memorized. We use WeChat, so he wouldn't be able to contact me on another phone. I've cried more today than in the past year. Please tell me other things I can try, or other excuses for why he isn't responding and didn't go on the trip. I'm so scared. When I was at his apartment door tonight all I could think is what if he fell and hit his head and he's on the other side of this door dead, but I'm not about to go full crazy and call the cops. Though I'm considering it at this point. Because the image won't leave my head and something is wrong I can feel it. Please help me. Edit. Thanks for telling me I'm not overreacting. This was what I needed to actually try to contact the cops. Update. He's not dead. Okay, so it's been a crazy night. For everyone asking why I hadn't already gone to the cops, it had only been a day and a half and I live in a very safe place so I didn't want to overreact. People have always told me I blow stuff up so I'm very cautious about it now. I know I probably should have gone earlier though. Anyway, I left my house and tried to find a police station but all I could find were traffic violation stations, so I called in even though I have the speech capabilities of an 11-year-old in Chinese, and told them what was going on. There was nice woman on the phone and she was very helpful and patient and sent over some officers to meet me and help me. They immediately take my case very seriously, but I still have the problem of not really having much info to give them. They asked if I had a picture of his ID and I was like, no? And so it took them a long time to find his record in the system. They were ready to go with me to do a house check but then they got an update on the system and asked if I was okay going with them to the station, and I of course was. So I get there and they ask me a few more questions like if we were fighting, no we weren't, etc. Then the officers who I'm talking to get a bit nervous and one types something into his phone and shows me a translation and it says, your boyfriend was arrested 2 days ago. I felt so many emotions and I'm still reeling. I barely slept last night and I have been worried sick and crying all day and so I'm relieved that he's fine, he's not dead or hurt or sick or in a coma or something. But at the same time he's fucking arrested? I'm still trying to wrap my head around it quite frankly. They couldn't tell me why he was arrested because the case isn't closed, but they took down my number and said they'd call me. But yeah. I'm so exhausted from this whole ordeal. Since I know people will ask, he's a great guy, a very nice person. He does, however, have very little regard for rules and regulations. He is an asshole driver on his bike and often cuts off cars. Also, he's not an angry person ever, but I can kind of seeing him getting in a fight if there's a good reason, at least in his own mind. I know he once got in an altercation with someone early in our relationship for cursing out his mother. But both of those mean you are held in custody until they figure out the case. If it's just a minor traffic violation or a fight he'll be out in a few days, and probably pay a fine. If it's something worse, well then maybe I shouldn't be seeing him anyway. Anyway, thanks for everyone who commented and made me feel like I wasn't overreacting or being a crazy girlfriend. I'll update if I ever find out what he did. Edit/update. The more I think about it, he had to have been arrested early on Tuesday. So probably not a fight or anything, maybe something he was caught on camera for? Edit. When I say he has little regard for rules I mean compared to me, it's very typical here. Bikes are illegal in the city so I'm told and yet I almost get hit by one daily. Jaywalking is illegal and yet he and everyone else does it all the time. Also, you can get held in custody for very minor things, which is why I haven't blacklisted him quite yet. Like once a guy yelled slurs at a group of my friends and called my black friend the N-word and the police detained him for 3 days for disturbing the peace. Not saying my BF would do that but you can get detained for parking tickets.